Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit of shifting science quickly, because we've seen so many stories of this, and frankly, I'm of the opinion that coronavirus is intentionally on the way out. As of Tuesday, when Joe Biden will declare victory at his State of the Union address, Rona is over. It's time for Ukraine. So the CDC has relaxed their mask guidance once again. On Friday, the CDC announced new relaxed guidelines. And under these new relaxed guidelines, 70% of the U.S. population lives in areas considered low and medium risk. And therefore, everyone is advised in those places they can go indoors without masks. And perhaps you think, great, so maybe the objective measurement of the data has finally shifted in our favor and corona's on the way out. No, the CDC did not actually make the change by evaluating the data. They made the change by responding to A, political pressure, and B, changing the way they measure the data, changing the metric. So here's a description from NBC News about the change this week.
This is welcome news to a lot of people, a relief, a long time coming, but it comes long after many states, most states actually, already have dropped their mask mandates.
And Willie, I think that's one of the keys here of what we're expecting today is the fact that they're looking at these local areas and saying they're already loosening up on the restrictions. Let's give them more guidelines they can use, more metrics they can use. And what you're going to see here, I do believe, are the metrics changing. Up until now, it's been case rates, it's been positivity rates as the guidelines and the driving factor behind when to put masks back on. Well, they're going to change that, I think, because of Omicron. Those metrics have essentially been thrown out the window. Now they're saying, let's look at hospital capacity. Let's look at hospital pressure, how much hospital pressure is being put on by these various viruses, the virus that's out there.
Oh, because of Omicron, we threw those metrics out the window. No, because you don't like those metrics anymore. You threw those metrics out the window. What does that tell us? Number one, well, they're enabling these states scrapping the mask mandates to have some backing. So you're following political pressure. Once the state said we're not doing this anymore, you said, okay, well, we'll give you some backing on that. And as far as changing the metric, the goalposts have gone full circle, basically. Oh, we don't care about cases anymore. Now we care about hospitalizations. Funny, I seem to remember this time 2 years ago when this was all kicking off. And that was the original metric. We have to preserve hospital resources, make sure that hospitals don't get overrun. Then the hospitals didn't get overrun, and we said, okay, now we care about cases. Nobody can get Rona. And now we're going back to hospitalizations as the way to get out of this. We've just we've changed the goalposts all the way around the field, and now they're back where they were. And we're just supposed to act like the science drove this decision. The CDC has also dropped its recommendation for universal school masking. That's over. And they said kids should only have to do that in high-risk areas.
What is that? What is a high-risk area?
It's their hospitalization rates. That's how they're defining it now. But again, it's not because of the data. Rochelle Walensky, the CDC director, said Friday, quote, "We want to give people a break from things like mask wearing." Oh, well, remember previously she said she makes decisions based on what she thinks people can tolerate. Remember when she said that one?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's follow the science, but actually it's follow her subjective judgment about what you and your family can handle if she were to run your family, but she doesn't. Meanwhile, just in case you need a little more demonstration that the CDC is a political organization that doesn't care about the data, this week the New York Times reported that the CDC has just been hiding the data they don't like. Headline exactly. Monday, the CDC isn't publishing large portions of the COVID data it collects.
What a surprise.
For more than a year, the CDC has collected data on hospitalizations for coronavirus in the United States and broken it down by age, race, and vaccination status. But it has not made most of the information public. Well, how did they select what information to make public and what not to? Well, 2 full years into the pandemic, the agency leading the country's response to the public health emergency has published only a tiny fraction of the data it has collected. Several people familiar with the data said. When the CDC,
pray tell, what demographic did they leave out of this data reporting?
See, when the CDC published the first significant data on the effectiveness of boosters in adults younger than 65 2 weeks ago, it left out the numbers for a huge portion of that population. 18 to 49-year-olds, the group least likely to benefit from extra shots because the first 2 doses already left them well protected. I'm sure that's They were already so protected from the first 2 doses.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
need to talk about the third one.
Not natural immunity. Yeah.
And then you scroll down, get a load of this paragraph. I mean, this is just damning, but in typical New York Times fashion, it's 13 paragraphs deep and nobody cares and it won't get the attention it deserves. But the CDC has been routinely collecting information since the COVID vaccines were first rolled out last year, according to a federal official familiar with the effort. The agency has been reluctant to make those figures public, the official said, because they might be misinterpreted as the vaccines being ineffective. Translation, the data definitely show minimal effectiveness for large portions of society, presumably young people, the demographic group they're not releasing. And they don't want people to conclude that those young people don't need it, or God forbid that the risks actually outweigh the benefits. They can't have that. So once again, follow the science. Oh no, not that science. Put that science in the darkest corner of the basement. Here's the science you should pay attention to. And, as I mentioned, if you doubt that this is political still, just pay attention on Tuesday night. There will be some Corona declaration. Joe Biden's not going to talk about Ukraine victory. He's not going to talk about the economy. He's going to talk about Corona is over.
Yeah.
What political opportunism? Perfect timing for the most important speech by the president and for all of these Democrats to have any hope for what has to be a bloodbath in November for elections to retain legitimacy in the public eye.